Hey everyone, welcome back. And this is the last video for this week. We're talking about the experience machine now. So this is the fourth and last video. So the experience machine is a thought experiment, also made by Robert Nozick, also meant to attack utilitarianism. So utility monster leaves open the possibility that the utilitarian can just say, look, yeah, the utility monster is a weird case. It sure feels wrong to let people starve to feed the utility monster, but happiness is still the thing that matters most, that we all agree is the only inherent good. And making the world the best possible place has to mean maximizing happiness. So we should feed the utility monster. It feels weird, but it only feels weird because we know there are no utility monsters in real life. And so letting one person starve or millions of people starve to feed one person would always be wrong in real life. And our brains know that. And so we think we shouldn't feed the utility monster. But really, strictly speaking, that would be the morally right thing to do. That's one response to the utility monster thought experiment some utilitarians have taken. And so the experience machine is meant to target the utilitarians' claim that happiness really is the ultimate inherent good, the thing we all care about most. That's what the experience machine is meant to attack or to argue against. So the experience machine is a thought experiment. It's like I said, it's by Robert Nozick again. So Robert Nozick really hated utilitarianism. Both of the main thought experiments raised against utilitarianism came from Robert Nozick. And so this is meant to be an objection to utilitarianism, but also to hedonism, the pursuit of your own happiness, your own pleasure at the expense of all else. The experience machine is meant to show that happiness is not the thing that matters most to us, that it's not the thing that we all care about deep down. It's not the ultimate good. It's not our ultimate goal. It's not the highest good or ultimate end, to borrow phrases from Aristotle and John Stuart Mill, respectively. So here's the thought experiment. Suppose that scientists can put you into the experience machine, where the experience machine is a big computer where they plug electrodes into your brain and they feed your brain whatever experiences you want to have. So your brain is where all your thinking and feeling takes place, and everything you know about the world comes from your senses, right? You see things, you smell things, you hear things, you taste things, you touch things. Everything you know about the world and what's going on around you comes from your senses. But all of your sense organs, your nerves, your taste buds, your eyeballs, your eardrums, they all just send electric signals to your brain. That's how your brain gets information from your sense organs about the world. So the experience machine will plug electrodes and wires up to your brain to mimic the electrical signals sent by your sense organs that would be sent by your sense organs in whatever scenario you want to experience. So it will really feel like you're there, whatever it is, whatever experience you want to have, it will really feel like you're there. It'll feel as real life does. So better than dreams, better than virtual reality. This is something way beyond either of those. It will really feel like real life. You will genuinely believe that you are living in real life. If you've seen The Matrix, which is a movie with Keanu Reeves from the 1990s, it's very similar to this. It's a very similar scenario. People are all living in a computer simulation that they think is real life. They think it's the 90s, but really it's like hundreds of years in the future, and computers took over the world. Right? So your brain is hooked up to this computer. It feeds you whatever experiences you want. So you can be a famous musician, a wealthy socialite, the emperor of the world, You don't have to have experiences that are based in real life. You could fly around in space. You could be Superman. You could be Batman. You could be Wonder Woman. You could have superpowers if you want. Uh, you could be the richest person who ever lived. You could do whatever you want, whatever you think would make you happiest. You can spend time with dead relatives if you want. You can live with historical figures. You could live in a world where, I don't know, Abraham Lincoln and Gandhi and King Henry VIII are all still alive and they're your neighbors, or you all live in an apartment together for some reason. Like whatever you think you would find fun, that could be your life in the experience machine. And so if you don't want to pick, the scientists can scientifically determine the experience that will make you happiest. The scientists will analyze your brain for you and tell you what would make you happiest and just set up that experience in the experience machine. So they will feed whatever experience you want or whatever experience is scientifically guaranteed to make you happiest. They will feed that to your brain and you will feel like you are really living that experience. So plugging into the experience machine guarantees that you will be as happy as you possibly can be, right? Whatever experience would make you happiest, that's the experience you will have. And in the experience machine, you will think it's real. So they'll give you amnesia. You won't remember anything pre-experience machine. You are in the experience machine. You genuinely believe that it is real life. And you just have these experiences that make you as happy as possible. If you think some suffering is needed to fully appreciate life, then you can program some suffering into the experience to help you fully appreciate life. If you think you need some like frustration or unhappiness or periods of sadness in order to fully appreciate and experience real happiness, great, fine. Program that into the machine. The machine doesn't have to be just a nonstop thrill ride. It can be whatever would make you happiest by your definition of happiness. That's the experience machine. So you are guaranteed to have more pleasure, more satisfaction, more happiness inside the experience machine than you could possibly have outside of it. You will feel more fulfilled, more content, more prosperous, all around happier inside the experience machine than outside of it. No matter what view of happiness you pick, maybe you think Mill is right and happiness is just pleasure without pain. Maybe you think happiness is something deeper and more long-term. Like Aristotle thought it was a sort of like lifelong flourishing. That's what happiness was. Whatever view of happiness you want to pick, you will be happier inside the experience machine. But whatever experience you end up with in the experience machine, whatever you pick or the scientists pick for you, you will only feel like it's happening. You'll really be asleep in a giant machine hooked up to a computer. It'll all feel real, but it won't actually be real. You will be living this sort of computer simulation. You will not actually be experiencing any of the things. You'll not actually be doing any of the things you feel like you're experiencing. So it feels real. You'll believe it's real, but it's actually not real. And once you're in, you can't come out, ever. So the question is, would you plug into the experience machine? Would you volunteer to get plugged into the experience machine? Would you plug in? That's a question. Feel free to pause the video and think about it for a bit. But I'll tell you, Robert Nozick says, hell no. There's no way any of us would choose to plug into the experience machine. Even if we end up saying we would, Nozick says, look, be honest, your initial answer was no, right? Like your first thought was, no. And that's enough to prove my point. This is not a direct quote, obviously. This is not how Nozick phrases it. But Nozick thinks that even if you end up talking yourself into it, really your initial reaction, if you're honest with yourself, was no, I don't want to plug into the experience machine. I want to live real life. And Nozick thinks as long as that's your initial reaction, as long as you don't want to plug into the experience machine initially, that shows that happiness isn't all that matters to us. Happiness is not the ultimate good, because in the experience machine, we can be as happy as possible. And we don't want that. We don't want to plug in the experience machine, even though plugging into the experience machine will make us as happy as possible. So we would be objectively, by any definition, happier in the experience machine than in the real world. But we still don't want to plug into the experience machine. And so that means happiness isn't all that matters to us. Being as happy as possible is not the thing we care about most. That is not our ultimate goal. Because when presented with the option, even just the hypothetical option, of being as happy as possible at the cost of not getting to experience real life, or at the cost of lying to ourselves with a computer simulation, we say no. We say we don't want to. We don't want to do that. So therefore, there must be something that we value more than happiness, or something that we value besides happiness, because otherwise we would choose the machine. If happiness were really our ultimate end, then we would choose to plug into the machine because it would make us as happy as possible. So there must be something that we value more. There must be something else that's more important to us. Something that keeps us from plugging into the experience machine. Something that we can only get living real life and experiencing real events, living sort of the truth. Maybe truth is the thing that matters more to us. Maybe it's knowledge. Maybe it's something completely different than either of those. But whatever it is, there's something that we want that we can't get in the experience machine because we say no. We say we don't want to plug into the experience machine. And as long as we say that, even just initially, that shows, Nozick thinks, that there must be something we care about more than happiness. There must be something we care about besides happiness. And if that's true, then that means utilitarianism is wrong, or at least the argument for utilitarianism is wrong. Because utilitarians defend their view by claiming that happiness is what matters most in life. Remember, Mill said that happiness was the only thing. Pleasure and the absence of pain are the only things desirable as ends. Everything else is desirable either because of its immediate pleasure or it's desirable as a tool to get more pleasure later or to prevent pain later. That those are the only things that we value: pleasure, the absence of pain, and things that we can use to get pleasure and to prevent pain. Mill says that's all that matters to us. And if that were true, then we would want to plug into the experience machine. So the fact that we don't means Mill is wrong. So utilitarianism gets something wrong. Happiness isn't what matters most in life. And if happiness isn't what matters most in life, then it shouldn't be the only thing we base our moral theory around. We should be taking things besides happiness into consideration. And so the justification for accepting the utility monster case and saying we should feed the utility monster and let people starve, or accepting the utilitarian answer in the Oregon case that we should kill one person and harvest their organs. The justification for giving those answers was based on this idea that happiness is the thing that matters most. So if it doesn't, if Nozick's right and the utilitarian's wrong and Mill's wrong, that happiness, and it turns out happiness is not what matters most or not the only thing that ultimately matters, then utilitarianism is wrong. And that's what Nozick argues. Utilitarianism is based on the idea that happiness is the most important thing, Happiness is not the most important thing. Therefore, utilitarianism is wrong. All right. So that's the experience machine. So this is our last video for this week. So those are 2 thought experiments against utilitarianism, arguments for utilitarianism, are covered in previous videos. If you have any questions, please let me know. Email me. I'll have office hours again Tuesday morning, 9:05 a.m. to 10:20. Feel free to stop by or email me if you have any questions. I will be happy to help you in any way I can. Until next time.